Hello, it's Ushalex here again, and welcome to this course where we'll be looking at another graphic design principle, which is hierarchy. So, what is hierarchy? Hierarchy is the control of visual information in a design. Hierarchy influences the order or structure in which elements are laid out in a design. So, hierarchy is super important in graphic design because every single element used in graphic designs do not have equal level of importance. So hierarchy makes it easy for informations in the graphic design to be arranged in such a way that the viewer gets to see the most important information first before seeing every other information down to the least important. Hierarchy is what will make a graphic design appear organized or easy to digest. So it becomes important in graphic design. So a good application of hierarchy can make a huge difference between an average graphic designer and an expert graphic designer. Without proper use of hierarchy, an information or element in a graphic design can just be there looking at you. You can pick up the design and you won't even know where to look at, what information to first of all consume, and you end up being confused and not knowing where to look at. In fact, a graphic design without good hierarchy is difficult for the audience to really understand the information being laid out in the design. So, in design, hierarchy is used to add structure, create visual organization, create direction, add emphasis, and help a viewer navigate and digest information easily. Before we look at some examples, I would like you to understand that hierarchy is a very important graphic design principle, and it's very unique because this principle makes use of almost every other graphic design principle. Like, it doesn't work alone. You cannot implement or apply hierarchy when you don't understand every other graphic design principle. That is why we have saved it for last, because it's important you know every other graphic design principle before you can apply hierarchy. Generally, in this course, we'll be looking at examples where we'll be applying hierarchy by color, alignment, contrast, white space, and proportion. Now let's look at this example where we'll be looking at hierarchy by implementing the graphic design principle, alignment, and the graphic design element, color. As I've told you, hierarchy is the control of visual element. So it helps you to take note of the most important element in a design. So by looking at this, what is the first thing you notice? What is the first element you notice in this design here? The first element you notice here is this square frame that has "who do you wanna become" with a question mark under. When you see that first, the next place your eyes go to is the picture by the far left, which is a doctor. The next one, a farmer. Before your eye goes to the engineer and the public speaker. So the big question is this: how have you been able to guide your eyes to make you see the text written "who do you want to become" first before every other image in the various square frames? How have we been able to achieve that? Simple. But first of all, altering the alignment of the frames, and also the choice of color we used for the frame that has that phrase "who do you want to become." Who do you want to become is the most important information in this design. It is the first information you need to see. It's like a question. Someone asks you, who do you want to become? A doctor, a farmer, an engineer, or a public speaker, right? So it doesn't make sense you get to see the picture of the doctor, the picture of the different professions before you get to notice the question. It will end up looking confusing. So to make sure that the viewer or you looking at this design get to see the question first before looking at the various options of profession, I have to make sure that the question stands out and it is the first thing your eyes sees. And that is why I have used contrast by alignment and color to make that part stand out and make you notice it first. And this is exactly hierarchy in play. This is exactly how I did it. You notice that every other square boxes or every other square frames that are containing each of the ladies in their different professions are between these two horizontal green lines, and they are perfectly fit into the lines with the two green lines immediately below the frames and immediately above the frames, except for the frame containing the question. And when I was talking about contrast by alignment in the previous courses, I made mention of how we can make an element stand out by altering its alignment, because the human eyes notice difference. So with this frame that is out of alignment with the other frames, it instantly stands out and make it easy for your eyes to notice first. Then to also add emphasis to this, I had to make the color red. This is because color red is a vibrant color that is so energetic and easily noticed by the human eyes. I'm trying to add emphasis and support what contrast by alignment is already doing to that frame. So I had to make sure you don't miss that frame. So you get to look at it first before looking at every other frame. So let's look at another example of how we create hierarchy. And here we are looking at lines. How we can create hierarchy with lines. By looking at these infographics, your eyes go first to the circular element by the left, and the next place your eyes goes to is the first element by the top right, because as you can see, the first line moves from that round element to the top element, which is yellow, before going to the one that has sea green, then before going to yellow and blue, then before green or army green. So you can see how these lines have been used to control the elements we look at per time. The lines used in these infographics makes it easier for us to know the exact element, or to guide our eyes and make sure we follow the order at which we are supposed to look at this information in the infographics. So let's look at another example. In this example, we have an image by the right and we have some text by the left trying to explain that image. But then this design is without the use of hierarchy. So let's fix that. Looking at this now, you can see that that has been fixed, and now the information looks better and more organized. So looking at this design, the first thing you see is travel to Japan. Now we know that this image by the right is all about Japan and traveling to Japan. Then the little text below that contains a little more information explaining about traveling to Japan, but at least travel to Japan is made bolder and instantly drives home the reason or the point of the entire design. Then at the bottom of the text, you can see a red button which contained a text. And this button is made red to draw attention to itself so that it will prompt you to take action or want to click it. So you see how hierarchy is used to improve this design. And in this design, we implemented white space, color, and proportion. So by proportion, we made a part of the text bigger, which is travel to Japan. We made it bigger to draw attention and imply importance. Then for the button below the text, we made the background red to draw attention and inspire action. Then white space. White space is the empty space that is around the text. If you look closely, you see there is nothing at the top of travel to Japan and there is nothing below the button. We purposely left that space so that your attention can be easily drawn to the text. Without white space, the elements in the design can be overwhelming. We apply white space to make the content easier to read. Now let's look at another example where we use proportion and white space to express hierarchy. So this is a design we have showed before in one of the previous courses, and here we are bringing it up again as an example for hierarchy. Here the biggest text here is spirit of faith, and that is the most important information in this design. It is the title or the theme of this event, and it is made bigger so that that will be the first thing you notice before every other information such as date. So, and if you also notice in between the name of the event at the top and the date below, there is actually spaces, almost like a space around the spirit of faith, and that space is white space, intentionally put there by the designer so that it will control your attention. It also ensures you focus on the spirit of faith, which is the theme of the program. So let's look at another example as well, where we use proportion to express hierarchy. So here, find your fast is the most important message in this design. The proportion was altered so that you get to notice it first before every other information. So with all these examples, you can now see the importance hierarchy plays in graphic design. Without hierarchy, there will be confusion in graphic design. Without hierarchy, your viewers won't know where to look at first, where to look at next, and what necessary steps to take. Because the essence of a graphic design is for effective communication and also to inspire action. With poor hierarchy, your viewers or audience won't know what to read first, what next step to take, and will end up being confused or overwhelmed by your design. So hierarchy is used to add structure, create visual organization, create direction, add emphasis, help a viewer navigate and digest information easily. And that is all for this course about hierarchy. And as an activity for this course, you will have to submit at least 3 designs with good hierarchy and state what type of hierarchy you use to achieve the hierarchy in each of the designs. Bye for now and see you in the next course.